It's on their mind. They're busy. We know people have schedules.
It's not necessarily hesitancy. I think it's more of the access to it.
Utah's governor announces a plan to bring the COVID-19 vaccine to you.
The middle school behind me, Elk Ridge Middle School, is one of many that are now experiencing outbreaks because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm Fox 13 Spencer Joseph. Why this is happening and what the state plans to do about it, coming up.
It was another really nice day here across Utah. Lots of sunshine and warm temperatures, but this won't last forever. I'm tracking our next front this weekend. Those details coming up.
The rise of Zach Wilson from Corner Canyon to BYU, now to the NFL as a top draft pick.
Woo! Yeah!
She's really changed the way that our mornings have been.
A woman who helps hundreds of people smile every single day just with the wave of her hand. I'm Erin Cox, and I'll introduce you to her.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13's Live at 5 starts right now.
The number of vaccinations in Utah continues to rise. Nearly 27,000 more shots went into arms since yesterday's report. 1.2 million Utahns have gotten at least one dose of the vaccine, and 924,000 people are now considered fully vaccinated.
And now there is a shift in the approach to getting people their COVID-19 shot. In team coverage this evening, Spencer Joseph looks at what's being done to contain outbreaks in schools, also the push to get more young people vaccinated.
But we start with Ben Winslow with the governor's plan to bring vaccines directly to the people.
Not as many people are going to mass vaccine sites anymore, so the governor has announced a plan for mobile pop-up clinics.
We are shifting our approach now to bring the vaccine directly to you.
Utah is now at a point where there's more supply of the COVID-19 vaccine than there is demand. The people who really wanted it have gotten it, but we haven't reached herd immunity. So the governor announced a change of plan.
We want to take it to the people.
Throwing open the door for community groups, churches, businesses, and others to partner with the state for mobile pop-up vaccine clinics.
We will come to you and at no cost to your organization.
The governor says it's a way to reach people who still want the vaccine but have not been able to make an appointment.
Some people, it's on their mind. They're busy. We know people have schedules. It's tough with your work schedules.
The state and local health departments have already been working with some groups, particularly in Utah's minority communities.
People have told us they really would not get vaccinated if it weren't for our community clinics hosted in these community sites where they feel comfortable.
Utah's chapter of OCA Asian Pacific Islander Advocates says this approach may work better than a mass vaccine site.
It's not necessarily hesitancy. I think it's more of the access to it, and I think that's why the community clinics are going to be really successful.
The state is currently in a plateau when it comes to COVID-19 cases.
We are seeing local outbreaks in schools and in tourist areas of the state. But really what's preventing a large surge from happening statewide is vaccination.
The governor says we'd be in a major surge if it weren't for the Utahns who already are vaccinated. More than 2 million doses have been given out, and 900,000 people are considered fully vaccinated.
We're still in the middle of a pandemic, and it's more important now than ever to get vaccinated if you are eligible. The more people that are vaccinated, the less COVID spread we'll have. And if there's less virus spreading around, there's less opportunity for that virus to mutate and for the variants to take hold here in Utah.
And OCA Asian Pacific Islander advocates say they do need some help. They have a need particularly for volunteers who are bilingual and can help translate health information. They say reach out to community groups if you are interested. On the Hill, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
And the Salt Lake County Health Department has 20,000 new appointments starting next week at Mountain America Expo Center in Sandy, also the Maverick Center in West Valley City. In addition, the Mountain America Expo Center will do walk-in vaccinations from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. starting on Monday.
463 more cases of COVID-19 are being reported today. The state is also reporting 7 more deaths, all of which happened before April 1st. Our 7-day positivity rate is 6.5% now. As state case rates begin to plateau, the state is announcing a troubling spike in cases among students under the age of 16.
Spencer Joseph has more on what the state is planning to do to try and control this new worrisome trend.
And this outbreak has really been a huge burden and inconvenience for the school, for the students, and for the parents.
Dr. Dunn made the announcement Thursday that while the state of Utah is in a plateau, schools throughout the state are seeing cases rise, especially among younger students in elementary and middle schools.
These are kids who are not eligible to get vaccinated. They're too young.
And no one knows that better right now than the parents and students at Elk Ridge Middle School. They're having an outbreak right now, and because it's a middle school, students are too young to be vaccinated.
We had 25 cases come in over the weekend, and that kind of scared us a little bit. We haven't seen an increase like that since, the second wave that we had.
This is Mary Hill with the Salt Lake County Health Department. She's handling the outbreak here. She says a lot of students who tested positive were part of the school's musical.
They tested 78 kids associated with the school musical, and we came up with 26 positives.
Those positive came from testing as a part of the test to play protocol. And don't force the school into a test to stay protocol. But the virus had already spread outside that population.
The school threshold is 30. And so right now we're at 31.
With those additional 31 cases, test to stay will now happen Friday. And the county is saying this could be a variant.
We're thinking this is a UK variant because of the high attack rate. We weren't seeing it this high before.
While schools are a problem spot, right now these outbreaks seem to be isolated.
Really what's preventing a large surge from happening statewide is vaccination.
So the message is to prevent even more spread among young students and the potential of a wider outbreak come fall.
We all need to get vaccinated when we're eligible, so make your appointment today.
Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Dr. Dunn also spoke at length about reaching high school students with clinics at schools if they are 16 or older. The state hopes to coordinate with local health departments to start doing more of that.
And Bob, that is happening. One district is starting to do that. It's the Granite School District. All next week, the Salt Lake County Health Department will conduct clinics on Granite's high school campuses. Now, the hope is to give students access since they are one of the lowest percentage groups to be vaccinated. The district says while it's not seeing the same spike as other schools, the key is to be proactive.
So the numbers actually look incredibly good, but at the same time, we are starting to see more cases in younger age groups. So as a state and county, so it's important that those who do have interest in participating have access, and that's what these clinics are all about.
Now, these clinics will be completely voluntary and students will require parental approval. However, parents can also be vaccinated at the high schools as well.
In developing news, another Utahn has been arrested in connection with the U.S. Capitol riot on January 6th.
33-year-old Landon Copeland of Apple Valley is facing multiple charges after court documents show he pushed another protester into an officer, knocking the officer to the ground. Copeland is also accused of pushing and pulling on an officer's riot shield and pushing or throwing a metal barricade at multiple officers. Fox 13's Lauren Steinbrecher is looking into Copeland's history. She will have more details on those charges tonight on Fox 13 News at 9.
Well, I had occasion to be out by the Great Salt Lake today on the west side of Salt Lake City, and I gotta tell you.
Was it a nice day?
Gorgeous out there.
Yes.
Man, was that nice.
I think you could close your eyes and pick anywhere on the map here across Utah today, and it'd be a stunning day. Downtown Salt Lake City, currently here in Salt Lake City, temperatures in the 70s, lots of sunshine. Ogden currently 74 degrees, for Provo 71 right now. Temperatures all along the Wasatch Front, most of us are around 70 degrees. It's even close to 70 for Park City, 57 for Alta, 70 in Tooele currently. Southern Utah, St. George, 85 right now. Across eastern Utah, 70s from Vernal, Price, Moab down into Blanding. It is a good 5 to 10 degrees warmer outside compared to this time 24 hours ago. Satellite and radar shows you nothing really happening. High pressure has taken hold. That means tomorrow will be another nice day. More of this, plus a little bit warmer, but tonight for the evening drive, dry roads, shouldn't be any problems as far as the weather goes impacting the commute. And for tomorrow morning, same thing. So if you're running late tomorrow morning, no problems, but I would maybe recommend setting the alarm a few minutes early. getting outside tomorrow morning, going for a walk first thing. High pressure, the main story ahead of some changes for Saturday. That's when our next front arrives. I'll let you know what you can expect this weekend coming up in the full forecast.
Thanks, Allison. All right, are you ready for some football? This is just the beginning of what's to come, right? Listen up. This is the first night of the NFL draft, and BYU's Zach Wilson is expected to have a really, really big night in Cleveland. Big payday, you could say.
It is payday. Fox 13's Jeff Rainier joins us now. And Jeff, this really is a dream come true for the BYU quarterback.
Yeah, Zach Wilson will become the top high school football player from Utah to ever be picked in the NFL draft if he goes number 2 to the New York Jets as expected.
Cougs, it's draft day. Let's get after it. Go Cougs.
Zach Wilson is in Cleveland for the NFL draft. There he is on the red carpet about an hour ago. He had an incredible rise to get to this moment. Led BYU to an 11-1 record last season as one of the most productive quarterbacks in the country. And the Jets expect to take him with the number 2 overall pick.
No, I'm excited for the opportunity, the moment. You know, this is what you sign up for and you become a quarterback. And I think that's what's so exciting is, you know, but as far as the draft goes, you know, I won't believe it till it happens. So I'm excited to be here and just soak it all in. I kind of come from behind. You know, I've always, I wasn't the biggest recruit. I wasn't a 5-star. I didn't have all the big offers. And, you know, I felt like every year there was, you know, somebody or something I was trying to prove wrong. We started from ground one. We worked all the way up. And it's a surreal and humble, you know, blessing experience to be here. I'm just so thankful for everything I've had.
If you guys know number 2, the Corner Canyon product will be the top high school player from Utah ever drafted. The great Merlin Olsen from Logan was the number 3 pick in 1962 by the Rams. His brother Phil Olsen, 4th pick in 1970 by the Patriots. And Roy's Jim McMahon went 5th to the Bears in 1982. Another player who played high school football in Utah should also be picked early on in the first round. Offensive lineman Penny Sewell, who played at Desert High School in St. George and later in Oregon. Coming up at 5:50, we'll have more on the rise of Zach Wilson with his connection with former BYU QB John Beck.
All right, Jeff, thanks so much. Go Cougs. Still ahead, the country of India is suffering right now with widespread COVID-19. See how one group in Utah is giving a helping hand.
And could the travel industry rebound this summer when the CDC wants to get cruises back out on the water?
On his 100th day in office, President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden stopped in Georgia to see former President Jimmy Carter and his wife Rosalind at their residence in Plains, which is about 150 miles south of Atlanta. Carter is currently the longest living president in history, while Biden is the oldest sitting president ever, at 78 years old. The commander-in-chief also held a drive-in car rally to mark his 100th day in the White House.
5 people are dead after a standoff in North Carolina. 2 of the victims are sheriff's deputies who were conducting a welfare check at the suspect's home yesterday. The family had missed work and was not responding to phone calls. The suspect hunkered down inside for more than 13 hours before taking his own life. Multiple first responders were shot during the standoff. The gunman is also suspected of killing his mother and stepfather, who were found dead inside the home.
New York City could be fully open, no restrictions, by the 1st of July. Mayor Bill de Blasio made the announcement today, saying it's based on science and data. New York City was once the epicenter of the U.S. COVID-19 outbreak, seeing an average of more than 800 deaths every day. Mayor de Blasio says vaccines are beating out new variants of the virus, making this goal possible.
The U.S. Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, talks with Fox 13 about what the president's American Jobs Plan could do for a state with nearly full employment and a booming economy.
We didn't even know that these dreams were possible to dream, let alone happen, you know?
Yeah, they are dreaming big. A Utah father and daughter continuing to spread their message of positivity through music. Coming out where you can see them live. And the Navajo Nation now paying it forward by sending personal protective equipment to India.
That country is in the middle of a horrific surge in COVID-19 cases. There are hundreds of thousands of new infections every day, setting global records. The president of the Navajo Nation says they got international relief when their cases were at an all-time high, and they're just trying to help others.
it's not just about, receiving here on the Now One Nation. We do have a stockpile of homemade masks that were donated as well as what we made. And so what we're doing is packaging that up, and we're going to send it to our brothers and sisters in India because they're getting hit hard, and we really know how it feels to get hit hard.
In addition to a COVID-19 surge, India also has shortages of drugs and vaccines, as well as personal protective equipment.
This is about a generational investment to keep America competitive in the 2020s, 2030s, and beyond.
After the president's speech to Congress last night, the Secretary of Transportation spoke with Fox 13 News this afternoon about how Biden's plan would impact Utah.
Going in depth today, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg would oversee more than $600 billion in investment in everything from roads and railways to electric vehicles.
Max Roth joins us live in studio now with what was made of that conversation. Max.
Yeah, you know what, Kelly and Bob, the quote that you just shared from him, he was talking about generational investment. That was his answer to my first question, which was why a state doing as well as Utah economically needs a jobs bill. Here's a sense of our conversation. Pardon the background noise. Next time I speak to a cabinet member, I won't sit next to the police scanners in the newsroom.
Utah alone has more than 2,000 miles of roads that are in poor condition. We've got to improve our roads and bridges. We've got to invest in our ports and airports. We've got to invest in broadband. There's still a lot of people in Utah living without good access to reliable, affordable broadband.
We have in particular one of the nation's worst problems with short-term particulate pollution.
A lot of particulate pollution comes out of the tailpipes of combustion engines. And while we have great performing electric vehicles increasingly made here in the U.S., we've got to do more to make them affordable, to make it not a luxury item, but something that more and more people can quickly adopt and get the fuel savings that come with it. When we do, that zero emissions, that's not just good for climate, that's good for public health. It's good for exposure to particulates that can lead to things like asthma. We've got to do something about that. And having charging stations so that in big spread out places, and Utah certainly comes to mind, there's just as much confidence in being able to get to where you need to go as for people who live in a dense coastal city.
Homes are staying on the market for an average of 4 to 5 days. Makes us worried about our kids being able to afford a house in the future.
In a lot of families, you don't get to worry about paying your transportation costs one month and your housing costs the next month. They hit you all at once. And for too many families, you add those things together, transportation and housing, and it's 40% or more of some people's family budget and income, which is not affordable. So that's why we've got to look at things like transit-oriented development, planning housing and transit at the same time to make it easier for people to affordably get to where they need to go.
Unlike most of the presidential candidates last year, you made a point of coming to Utah. What did you see in this state that is, widely viewed as very conservative and very skeptical of the kinds of proposals that we're talking about here?
When I came to Utah, I was made to feel so welcome and really enjoyed seeing how much people cared about their community, how much people cared about each other. I just encountered such compassion and concern, even across different ideological lines. And it's a political style and a community style that I think we could use a lot more of.
You heard there we talked about housing prices in Utah, and it was funny, just on a tangent, I guess we're better here than D.C. because the Transportation Secretary of the United States of America says he, his partner, and 2 dogs are living in a 1-bedroom apartment in D.C. Live in studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Oh, boy. That federal paycheck just isn't going very far, apparently.
Yeah. All relative, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the beautiful weather to add to all the other wonderful things our state has. Allison, today is the day you got to get outside and just stand there, feel it, soak in the sunshine.
Absolutely. So lots of sunshine here across the state today. It's not quite as gusty as it was this time yesterday. It's still a bit breezy, though, for Bryce, Cedar City, and Milford. That wind is gusting about 20-25 miles per hour. But looking at these temperatures here across the state, it feels fantastic. Most of us in the 60s and 70s here across the state. St. George in the 80s currently. Now, compared to this time 24 hours ago, it's a good 5 to 10 degrees warmer outside, and the forecast is calling for even hotter temperatures tomorrow. That's all ahead of our next front that arrives on Saturday. But satellite and radar here across the region showing you clear sky, breezy at times through central and southern Utah, but wind for the most part fairly light here across the state. state, mostly 5 to 10 miles per hour. And looking at the cameras here across Utah, Zion National Park, a very nice day. The cameras across central Utah, Price, showing you bright blue sky. And then for northern Utah, this is the Deer Valley Bald Mountain camera that faces out towards Jordanelle and the Uinta. So you can see snow for those mountaintops. Still some snow left at the ski resorts, even though ski season is over for most places. Our overnight temperatures tonight into tomorrow morning as you wake up, 51 degrees here in Salt Lake City. So it will be not a bad start tomorrow, pretty mild start to your Friday, and that's all ahead of a very hot afternoon. Highs tomorrow in the 80s. Definitely, if you haven't transitioned to air conditioning yet, I'm sure tomorrow will probably be your day. Partly cloudy sky. So we look at this futurecast over the next couple of days. We'll have the clear sky tonight and into tomorrow. A few clouds at times, but really into Friday when we see most of our clouds arriving. And then second half of the day on Saturday, our wind picks up across southern Utah and we start seeing some increased chances for some rain here across the region. Our best chance for rain will be on Sunday for a lot of the state. And then our best chances for record high temperatures will be Friday and Saturday for a lot of Utah. Near record temperatures for most of us. So overnight temps will be about 40 to 50 here across the state as you wake up for your Friday morning tomorrow. Then tomorrow afternoon, highs will be in the 80s and 90s across a lot of the state. So Wasatch Front by 4 p.m. tomorrow, we're talking close to 80 degrees, even close to 75 degrees up in Park City, and for St. George into the 90s. St. George tomorrow, daytime highs in the 90s. Same thing for Saturday. By Sunday, still breezy, a little bit cooler. You'll see a 10-degree cool down through the weekend and then into early next week. That's when your coolest day will arrive on Monday. Back into the 90s by next Wednesday. And for the Wasatch Front, temperatures close to 80 through Saturday. Cooler for Sunday and Monday, around 60. As I mentioned, an increased chance for rain on Sunday. We'll talk more about that with what you can expect coming up in the next full forecast.
We've got warmer temperatures, drier conditions, and we've seen a lot of fire activity.
Fire season is getting an early start this year with an important shift in enforcement happening this weekend. What state officials want you to know.
We've really moved at light speed here. Given the scope, I think, and the urgency of the challenge, we've had to do that.
Plus, see the unique way Salt Lake City is fighting the homeless crisis and giving those living on the street a place to call home.
She makes our day every day, our mornings and days.
And we'll introduce you to one Ogden area woman who is making the day for hundreds who pass by. The FDA says it wants to ban menthol cigarettes and all flavored cigars.
Bob, it is a move that health experts say is necessary to reduce addiction and improve smokers' chances of quitting. The FDA also says menthol flavors help contribute to young people getting addicted to smoking. The use of tobacco is the leading cause of preventable death in the U.S. Within the next year, the FDA says it will work toward issuing proposed product standards to ban both of those products.
The CDC is committed to resuming the U.S. cruise industry by mid-summer. CDC just announced new steps to help get boats back in the water. 98% of a ship's crew and 95% of passengers must be fully vaccinated to get the green light. The CDC also committed to responding to requests to sail in 5 days, faster than the initial 60-day wait.
Stocks rose today, lifting the S&P 500 to a record close after blockbuster earnings reports from both Apple and Facebook. The Dow climbed 240 points to end at 34,060. The Nasdaq added 32. The S&P gained 28.
We're seeing more activity, and we are seeing the conditions that warrant closing fire season early.
In our next half hour, the fire season is starting a month early this year. How you can slow it down.
Mayor Mendenhall announces an ambitious project to help ease the homeless crisis in her city. A look at this massive project, what it means for the city coming up.
You can be pro-cop and anti-murder.
Utah is being put in the national spotlight for police reform, the message Governor Cox has for other states.
Salt Lake City Mayor Erin Mendenhall has announced a new partnership that she hopes will help provide permanent housing to the chronically homeless.
Now, this could work. It's an entire community made up of tiny homes. Haley Higgins is live at City Hall this afternoon. Haley, how much would this project in all cost?
Yeah, that is the big question. And right now, the city says they do not have an answer how much this massive project will cost taxpayers and possibly philanthropists in the community. It's because of the explosion of tent cities here in the Salt Lake area. Today, the city announced a partnership with the Other Side Academy to create the state's first pilot village for people who are chronically homeless. However, it's unclear where it will be located and how much it will cost, as I said, or who will pay for it. The city will still need several acres to build anywhere from 400 to 500 permanent tiny homes. The deadline to get it up and running, Mayor Mendenhall wants it to happen before winter.
We have needed to think creatively to get outside of the box and to get more people sheltered. And the tiny home community is one way that we can better serve our residents who are unhoused.
The move comes a couple years after 3 new homeless resource centers opened in Salt Lake County, as well as temporary shelters, and that caused a lot of pushback by neighbors and businesses. Now, homeless advocates that I've spoken to say this kind of project really is what people need who are chronically homeless. But how does it fare to other projects, very similar projects across the country? I take a look at that coming up on Live at 9. Reporting live in Salt Lake City for now, Haley Higgins, Fox 13 News, Utah.
And instead of defunding the police, we're actually giving more support to our officers, giving them more training.
Utah is getting national attention now for police reform. Governor Spencer Cox signed 12 new bills into law last week. He was on CNN this morning to highlight the changes coming to the Beehive State. And he had a message for federal lawmakers working to make changes on a larger scale.
We've got to stop thinking as Americans and having to choose between false choices. You can be pro-cop and anti-murder. We can do these things together, and that's what happened in Utah.
Governor Cox also says it was, quote, cool to see Utah lawmakers from both sides of the aisle with community activists and leaders come together to make these bills happen this past session.
DNA tests on evidence found on Chad Daybell's Idaho property last summer are now being put on hold. The bodies of his wife Lori's children were found buried in Daybell's backyard. Prosecutors agreed to stop testing as they work with the defense on stipulations regarding the new evidence. A future hearing date for the DNA test has not yet been set.
2 people are being treated for injuries after a crash in Salt Lake City this afternoon or today. UHP troopers say a van was southbound on I-15 when it moved to the off-ramp at 400 South. The van drove in the right-hand lane as if it was about to turn, but then went straight, driving over a median and hitting a box truck. The driver of the van had to be cut out by crews and was taken to a nearby hospital with serious injuries. The driver of the truck has minor injuries.
Fire was concerned about the pressure on the driver with the vehicle being crushed around him, and so they were successfully able to extricate him and transport him.
Salt Lake police are investigating what led to the crash.
On Utah's Capitol Hill today, Governor Cox held a ceremonial signing for a series of bills that merge some big government agencies. Now, the biggest one combines Utah's Department of Health and Human Services.
We're going to bring it all into the same, under the same umbrella so that there can be better coordination of data, so we can actually follow someone through the entire process and make sure that we're getting the outcomes that we need for them in their lives.
Along with that, the governor's office says it will lead to taxpayer savings. No jobs are expected to be lost. Well, fire season is starting May 1st. That's this Saturday. It's starting in parts of our states about 1 month earlier than normal.
The Department of Natural Resources issued a proclamation this morning saying fire season limits apply to Beaver, Garfield, Iron, Kane, and Washington counties starting, as Kelly just said, this Saturday. It also calls the current conditions unseasonably dangerous because of warmer weather. But the restrictions do not apply to campfires.
When we talk about closed fire season, it's specifically in reference to open burning on unincorporated state and private land. So not fire restrictions as far as campfires go, but specifically open burning.
The Utah Division of Forestry also says 77% of last year's wildfires were human-caused. They remind you to do all you can to reduce the spread of wildfires this season.
All right, keep that in mind because I bet a lot of you will be out adventuring tomorrow into Saturday because the weather is going to be just about perfect.
Absolutely, but no warnings here across the state currently for fire weather or for otherwise. We do still have some breezy conditions. So across southern Utah right now, Milford down through Cedar up through Bryce Canyon, that's where we do have our wind gusting about 20 miles per hour, but we do have a really nice spring day ahead, a fantastic spring week over the next week with a few spring showers, but temperatures right now mostly in the 60s and 70s for the Wasatch Front, in the 50s and 60s for the mountains currently, 74 up in Ogden, St. George right now, 85 degrees. We look at satellite and radar, high pressure has taken hold. That's why we're not seeing any clouds even showing up on that satellite and radar, but Salt Lake City currently here. Temperatures over the next few hours will be in the 70s for just a little bit longer. Then by 8 o'clock tonight, we're back into the 60s, back into the 50s around midnight. So tomorrow morning as you wake up, a mild start to your Friday, but tomorrow I'm declaring it a top 10 weather day. It's on a Friday. We're going to have near record temperatures here across the state, all ahead of our next storm. Those details coming up later this hour.
See you then, Allison. Thank you. A Kaysville father and daughter touched millions of hearts last year. You may remember this. They were sharing their uplifting duets online.
The two have been hard at work since and will perform at a live in-person concert in the coming weeks. Fox 13's Diego Romo spoke with them.
We'd never intended to have this kind of response and have it become this kind of thing. But it has been so fun for us.
Matt and Savannah Shaw have come a long way in the last year, from recording songs in their closet at home.
Hey, Savannah.
To releasing 2 studio albums, one of them landing on the top of Billboard's Emerging Artist list in November.
It is so much easier and so much more enjoyable, I think, because
Better than the closet?
Oh, 100%.
The two went viral last year after sharing a duet called The Prayer, which gained millions of views on Facebook and reached people all over the world.
You know, it was very shocking when the video started to get views because we genuinely thought that it would just be viewed by some friends and family.
They now have over 570,000 subscribers on YouTube and have begun to play live shows for their fans.
I love the energy and the emotion in the room because I feel like music has the power to communicate better than words can, and it just really connects people.
Matt and Savannah recently announced a new album called Stand By Me, which will be released at a live concert at the Eccles Theater on May 21st.
For us, going from recording in our closet a year ago to being able to perform at the premier stage in Utah is another one of those pinch me moments.
More information on tickets for the show and their new album can be found on their website. We'll link you over at fox13now.com.
I want it to be a celebration of the fact that we've made it through one of the hardest years ever and just celebrate being together.
Diego Romo, Fox 13 News, Utah.
What a couple. They sound fantastic, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Very cool. Best of luck to them. Still to come, a new expansion to Utah Valley University, what's coming to campus, and the impact it's expected to have.
And Utah scientists are working on a way to repurpose old electric vehicle batteries. How homes and businesses can benefit. We're back in 60 seconds.
Welcome back, everyone. Soon, small businesses in Utah County will have quicker access to global economic services, all thanks to a partnership between World Trade Center Utah and Utah Valley University. There is now a brand new extension office for World Trade Center Utah at UVU. This satellite office will be staffed by a full-time employee along with UVU students and faculty members.
Whether or not a company's never exported before, maybe a company is selling into Canada and Mexico, but it's time to take a look at Asia. World Trade Center Utah exists to plug in to help those companies identify market opportunities, put together their strategies, and then through the phenomenal global network that we have with our partners, we then can open doors and generate momentum to help these small Utah companies take advantage of global opportunities.
Wow, what a help. World Trade Center Utah also helps small businesses apply for grant money. If you would like more information, go to our website, fox13now.com.
Scientists at Utah State University are working on a way to recycle old electric vehicle batteries to turn them into solar energy storage. So far, they've been able to repurpose the battery from an old Ford C-Max hybrid car. This could dramatically reduce the cost of solar energy storage and make the adoption of solar energy more accessible to homes and businesses everywhere.
We're expecting more than 5 million tons of retired battery from electric vehicle by 2030.
The USU team is hoping to be able to apply the technology to repurpose batteries from other electric vehicles, such as the Nissan Leaf and Teslas. The researchers are also up for a $500,000 grant prize in the American-made Solar Prize competition. 2 winners will be chosen for this contest in September.
She's making a difference for hundreds of people here in the Ogden community just with the wave of her hand. I'm Erin Cox, and coming up next, I'm going to introduce you to Sergeant Officer.
Coming up in sports, we'll hear from quarterback guru John Beck on getting Zach Wilson ready for the NFL. And we'll hear from the former BYU quarterback himself from the red carpet in Cleveland on his big night.
With just the wave of her hand, a Utah veteran is helping hundreds of people in Ogden smile and have a better day.
We all need her in our life, I think. It's a story you will only see here. Fox 13's Erin Cox shows us how this woman's happiness can be contagious.
Going to school can be pretty rough if you're
6 or 4.
But for these two sisters, there's someone who makes the walk a bit easier.
She makes our day every day.
She's really changed the way that our mornings have been.
Someone the kids call Sergeant Officer.
Yeah! That's what she goes by, yes. She was in the military.
Denise Officer spent 22 years serving as a staff sergeant in the Utah Guard, the Army Guard, and Air Guard.
Veterans are the treasure of this country. Wow. But to me also, the children are the treasure of this world.
Sergeant Officer now serves her community on the corner of 26th and Monroe Boulevard as a crossing guard.
This corner is the happy corner. What kind of day are you gonna have? A great day!
Seeing her here on the corner doing what she loves to do with these children was just heartwarming to me.
A salute to police officers and military.
Woo! Yeah!
A wave and hello to those passing by.
Hi, guys!
And the kids started giving back as well.
Oh my gosh! I got a Dr. Pepper and muffins. It doesn't get better than that.
My daughters here decided that they wanted to buy her some flowers with their chore money.
I thought it would be nice to buy it to her, and it would make her happy and me happy.
Smile and wave. See?
Who would have thought some of the most important lessons
and bullet
would come on the way to school?
This experience and these people have touched my life. Woo! Ogden! Yeah!
Sergeant Officer is retiring from her crosswalk duties at the end of this school year. She plans to start a new leadership program for youth. In Ogden, Erin Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Great to see she'll still be working with children. I'm already happy just watching that. Police departments around the state are often looking for more crossing guards. If you would like to apply for a position in Ogden, we do have a link at fox13now.com.
Well, if you're working as a crossing guard, you didn't need a raincoat today. I'll tell you what, nice out there.
And you don't need it tomorrow either. Actually, probably no jacket will work tomorrow. Even in the morning, it'll be a mild start. Southern Utah, it's not as breezy as it was this time 24 hours ago, but we do have that breeze about 20 miles per hour. Milford and Cedar City over through Bryce Canyon currently. Salt Lake the rest of the night, though. I hope you can get outside and enjoy it. Even if you've got a busy evening, just find at least 5 minutes to get outside, as we're going to have have those temperatures in the 60s and 70s until bedtime, and we'll have the clear sky here across the state tonight, as we're seeing right now on our loop over the last few hours. It doesn't look like anything's happening, and that's because high pressure has taken charge. And so for tomorrow, more sunshine and more warm temperatures. It's actually going to be hotter for Friday and Saturday here across the state. Alta, Albion Basin, clear blue sky. We have very comfortable temperatures here across the entire region, even up in Evanston, 67 right now, but most of us currently in the low 70s, St. George mid 80s right now. And Salt Lake, over the next couple of days, we are going to have a cool down. So from Friday into Sunday, you'll notice a pretty big difference. So we'll have 60s, 70s, and 80s over the next 5 days, and Sunday and Monday will be our coolest days over the next week. So high pressure is the main story right now. Then our next trough digs in from the north. Some cooler air moves in for Sunday and Monday. We see a chance for some scattered showers as well as we wrap up the weekend. And for tomorrow, for your finally Friday here across the state, it's going to be such a nice afternoon. As we look at our temperatures in the 80s for Salt Lake tomorrow, Park City even in the 70s. St. George tomorrow, if you think today's hot, get ready for tomorrow, 94. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Just making sure you're checking on the elderly, being really careful with your kids. Pets, don't leave anything or anybody in a car. Even if you're just running an errand and going in the store for 10 minutes, it's going to be too hot tomorrow afternoon, and that could be deadly. And for Moab, 86 degrees tomorrow. So future cast over the next couple of days. Let's talk about the setup for Saturday. Until then, really pleasant conditions. Saturday afternoon, though, our wind picks up out of the southwest, moves towards the northeast, and we have colder air moving in from the northwest, along with increased chances for showers throughout the day. On Sunday here across the region, we're tracking potentially some mountain snowfall for our highest peaks in the Uintas, but mostly just some rain scattered here across the state on Sunday into Monday. And then that moves out and we have a very nice spring week ahead. So temperature-wise, tomorrow morning, first thing in the morning, if your kids are walking to school tomorrow, fine conditions for you. It'll be about 50 first thing in the morning. Park City, cooler at 38, but St. George tomorrow morning, first thing, 60 degrees. Tomorrow afternoon, highs will be in the 80s for the Wasatch Front, 70s for Park City, St. George in the 90s tomorrow. St. George, 94 for Friday, 92 for Saturday. Very windy this weekend, even into Sunday. And then by Monday, sunshine and close to 80. You're back, though, into the 90s by next Wednesday and Thursday. And for the Wasatch Front, our temperatures will be in the 80s for Friday. For Saturday, 78 degrees. Sunday, 61. And pointing out these overnight temperatures this weekend. Saturday morning will be about 60 as you wake up, so a great morning to get to the park before it gets busy. And then we'll have those temperatures next week back close to 80 degrees by next Thursday.
It's a big night for Zach Wilson. The Jets expected to take him with the number 2 pick in the NFL draft. He's come a long way since his days at Corner Canyon High School. Here's Fox 13's Morgan Vance.
Yeah, Jeff, minutes from now, Wilson will most likely be a Jet. But how did we get to this point? You know, it wasn't very long ago, last August, in fact, that we didn't even know who BYU's starting quarterback was going to be. But thanks in part to his relationship with another former BYU quarterback, Wilson's stock has risen very quickly. John Beck met Zach through Wilson's uncle before he ever even took his first snaps in Provo. But after 3 years of training together in California, the potential number 2 pick has turned into a quarterback scouts have fallen in love with. Beck was on the Rich Eisen show yesterday and said this about his odds of surviving in America's biggest media market.
To some ears listening, that may seem daunting. To other people, like what I believe Zach Wilson is, this type of person, it is a challenge. I believe most of the men that are in the NFL are men that love challenges. Same with the coaches. They love the challenge of things, and it excites them, it motivates them, it drives them. So really what going to the New York Jets is that they challenge, and there's going to be a host of adversity. There's going to be a lot of things along the way that he's going to have to adapt, grow, learn new tools, sharpen his tools that he already has. Like go back to the drawing board after a loss. That's all going to happen. And what you hope for and you cross your fingers for is that during all that crazy ride, there's good development, there's good consistency, and all those things grow to a place where then the New York Jets get to turn this thing around and make a playoff run, and that's when it gets really exciting.
Beck has also worked extensively with Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields, who will also hear his name called tonight. Should be fun to watch. From Wilson's old stomping grounds, Morgan Vance, Fox 13 Sports.
Yeah, from Corner Canyon to the red carpet at the NFL Draft. Zach Wilson's in Cleveland for the event and talked about his rise from high school to the NFL.
It's a dream come true. You know, I'm just excited to be here, have my family, friends, you know, the support around. You know, it's so surreal. Every single day, you know, we just think to ourselves, you know, how crazy is this that we get to be part of this? So, you know, I'm soaking it in, and I'm having a good time. I always had that belief in myself, you know, going back to my senior year in high school. You know, I felt like I always, you know, had the belief to be able to go to the NFL. You know, I really felt like that dream became true for me after my freshman year in college. And then going into my junior year, you know, I felt like as a team we were able to do anything we wanted. And so I kind of felt like the sky was the limit at that point.
Penny Sewell, who played at Desert Hills High School in St. George, then Oregon, should also hear his name called early in the first round. We'll be right back.
I'll tell you, you got to try really hard tonight to not eat your dinner outside.
Sounds like a plan. I hope your patio's all ready.
Yeah.
Sure is beautiful today. It's going to be the same tomorrow. Allison's been giving us the details. And man, Allison, yeah. Didn't think
Top
you could
10
get better.
weather day, I think. Top 10 nicest day.
Top 10.
Top 10.
That's saying something.
Go out and enjoy what's left of it now.
We'll see you at 9.